Yeah, blessings on blessings, yeah. Blessings on blessings, yeah.
So first off, shalom, mishpachah. Welcome back to the 6-day study. If you don't know, I'm Paqadyahu. Um, During this 6-day study, we have been going through the end times study from Matthew chapter 24. And I will be continuing from verse 29. Maybe I can make it to verse 32, y'all willing. I pray that this bless you all. And don't forget to, if you've been watching the videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. A lot of people have been blessed by these videos. A lot of new people that haven't even heard of Goshen Group love the way, that we are teaching, that we're presenting. Those people that are just further than just being woken up, that's just trying to bring this word into practicality. That's what our purpose is. Yes, we love to help people in the awakening, but it's like now that I kind of understand the word a little bit, what are we supposed to do? What's next? How do we apply these things? And I really feel like that is the purpose of Goshen Group, is to help us walk this thing out. To now that we have knowledge, now that we know that we need to study the word, it's our job to help you understand the word. So with that being said, let's get into it. All right. As I said, we're going through um Matthew 24. I'm going to start from verse 25 just for a little bit of context before we really get into 29. Verse 25 says, and this is Mashiach speaking. It says, "Behold, I have told you before, wherefore if they shall say unto you, wherefore if they shall say unto you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth, behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lightning cometh out of the east and shineth even to the west, shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For whosoever, for wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagle be gathered together." Now, Kiefer did an amazing job um, the last time he covered this. So in this, I just want to remind us that in the beginning of all this, the King Mashiach is laying it out, when the disciples asked him, it's like, man, tell us about the times of the end. Tell us about the end, you know? And from all the way from the beginning of the chapter, the first thing that he told us, the first thing that is, I don't think that we really truly understand how important it is, but to not be deceived. And verses 26 to 28 is just laying back on that. They try to say, not to hammer, not to beat a dead horse, as they say, or not to hammer this thing in so well, but we got to. We got to, because deception, today in these last days is at a all-time high. It is so easy to be deceived. And as I was studying this word, as I was studying this word, I really, it really brought me to really understand what our ancestors was really going through in the land of Canaan and in the land of Mitzrayim, and what they was going through as they were scattered, as the 10 tribes was scattered, and they were, you know, exposed to the deities of the Grecians, the deities of the Assyrians, the deities of Babylon, you see. And with all these deities have their own practices, their cultures, and their belief system, and how they worship, and their little hella holidays, just like today, you know. We have so-called, Thanksgiving coming up, and you know, people, the first thing that people say when I tell them, I had one of my aunt, one of my aunts that I just got introduced to this year, and I would bless her, because the first thing that she thought about was, like, she called me and was like, um, can you if you're doing it, can you please come spend some time with me on Thanksgiving?" And I told her, I'm sorry, but I don't, I don't practice that. I don't celebrate that day, you know. And she was like, "Can you please just come and hang out? Just come and hang out. Well, you don't gotta participate, just come and hang out with me." And I was at the gym and I was telling a sister of mine that I trained there, and she was like, "But I don't get that. I don't like because it's not about that anymore." But it is. And the first thing that I said is like, "Look, you know, shoot, we can gather the day after that. We can gather the day before that. How about on the weekend? We can gather then." And they're like, "Well, we got to work those days and this, that, and the third." And I'm like, "You have the weekend. We can. How about we gather on the weekend? Why must we do it on this day?" And they say, "Well, it's because we get a day off for that." And I'm like, you know, I don't know if many of you already know, but I'm part, you know, natively Cherokee. If you didn't know, I'm part Indian. So, it hits a little bit. I'm a Hebrew through and through, but there is still an ancestral history with that you know I can't get down with that. And even if people try to switch it up and try to change it and try to say, well, it's not about that anymore, but no, it's about the initial thing. It's about the deception. It's about the deception, you see? And it's like that N-word. And I used to agree with people. It's like that N-word, right? When we were slaves, they called us, you know, that N-word, right? With that hard, whether with that hard AR on the end, with the makes it dig in there. And then we get into the 80s and into the 90s, and then the first thing that people are saying, you know what? We taking that back. We taking that back. It's ours now. And I was a part of the deception. I was like, yeah, it became a word of endearment. But you know what that really means? That means that programming and that deception was completed. That means that deception, that programming, that brainwash was complete, 100% complete. And why did I say that? Because they don't have to tell you what they think of you. You're doing it on your own. It's part of that Jim Crow laws, backbreaking, all that stuff. The deception, you know, the deception is ran through that we're so deceived that it's my man, I think a guy says, he says, "Man, my programming is programmed." You know what I'm saying? And it's so bad, but this is what our ancestors had to deal with. Yes, Stockholm syndrome. Stockholm syndrome. But it's all a lie. It's all a lie. It's not right. It's not true. It never was and it never will be. And that's what this is about. That's the deception. And I guess that's my intro. I guess that's my intro. But going back to 26, that's why he says, because they're going to tell you it's going to be other people that worship other deities and other doctrines and other practices. And they're going to tell you, hey, he's going to be in the desert. Behold, he's over here, he's over there, he's under here, he's up there. There's going to be people that's going to tell you, look, you know, our doctrines are the same. Why don't we should believe, I believe what you believe, we believe the same thing. No, it's not. No, it's not. They're gonna say, hey, we should come together because you know what? All melanated people, all black people need to come together because it's the man. It's the man that's driving us apart. We need to unite, forget our differences. We need to unite with each other because that's how we're going to defeat them. No, it's when and I had to remind them, I was like, man, The last time that my people and your people, so-called people with y'all doctrine, joined each other, we was assimilated with y'all. And we lost. We had to move again. War broke out. Because we wanted to be peaceful. No, we have to be set apart. Unless you can say that you love Yahuwah out of your mouth, and you want to keep his commandments, not the ones that you metamorphed or augmented or altered, mutated, I can't rock with you like that. You want to do business, we can do business. But nah, I ain't trying to be in your synagogues. I ain't trying to be all up in there. I ain't trying to fast with you. I ain't trying to share the same land with you. I'm good. Because it's so easy for us, because we want to keep peace with everybody else. Us keeping peace with everybody else and trying to please everybody else, we coming to fault with y'all. So I'm good. Y'all can have this day. You can have the next day too if you want it. You know what I'm saying? I will take the overtime. Thank you. So it says, for as the lightning cometh out of the east, shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man. Because everybody will see where that lightning coming from, right? Everybody see, oh, yeah, I saw that. They're going to see it from over there. They're going to see it from all over there. That Son of Man is coming. He says, for wherever the carcass, there will the eagle be. But Kiefer made a very valid point. Everybody's seen them vultures. This word for eagles for vultures here. And everybody's seen a vulture before. And you know where they gather at. It's a feast. So you know what's there, because they ain't going to be there because it isn't there. That carcass is going to be there. You see? So just as we can read these signs, there's going to be another sign for us, for us to pay attention to, right? Just as we know these signs, as we know that, we have the red in the day and in the evening, we could see the moon in the sky. We could tell by the warmth. We could tell a bee by the green ears. You see, these are the signs that we know, we understand. For all y'all ladies that's out there, and ox that's out there, that's still out there single, we paying attention to signs. We understand what red flags are. You start seeing them red flags, you'd be like, nah, I'm good. I am good. So I'm gonna read through verses 29 through 31, and then we're gonna double back and we're gonna touch on some things. All right. So this is immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from the Shamayim, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And they shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in the Shamayim, and then shall the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great esteem. And he shall send his angels, his Malachim, with great sound of the trumpets, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heaven to the other. In verse 29, we understand that there will be the tribulation, and we see that the sun will be darkened, right? And the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from the Shamayim, and the powers of the Shamayim shall be shaken. You see, the powers of the heavens shall be shaken, all right? And now in verse 30, we see the first thing, right? The first thing that we see here, it says, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man. See, they was telling you before, right? They was telling you before. Well, what he was saying is, hey, if they say that he's over here, if he's up there, if he's in this secret place, he says, nah, that's not it. And people will be deceived at that. He told us there will be false messiahs. You know what I'm saying? People that will deceive you and think that, to try to lead you to believe that he came before his coming. And people have been deceived and continue to be deceived as it was prophesied, right? But here he's telling you what the sign is. The sign is the Son of Man in the clouds. In the clouds. So if they say that he's walking up the block, if they say that he caught spirit back to Israel, if they say that he's over there at the crib, if they say, hey, he's on this he has this huge gathering at the temple, please don't be deceived. Don't be deceived like everybody else is going to be. Because he still got those people that believe that he didn't come the first time. So they believe that he's going to come not the second time, but the first time. You see, it's a lot of things that must come, and what they're going to tell you is not going to be his coming, right? Let's take a look at this coming of the clouds, right? Right. Where else do we get this from? It's going to be over here in Revelations. And we're going to start at verse 4 for the sake of time. It says here, John, to the 7 churches which are in Asia, may honor and favor be unto you, and peace from him which is, and which was, and which is to come, and from the 7 spirits which are before the throne, and from Yahusha, the Messiah, who is the faithful witness, the first begotten of the dead, and the prince of the kings of the earth, unto him that loveth us and washed us from our sins in his own blood, and have made us kings and priests. Because that's what we were supposed to be. We're supposed to be a nation of kings and priests unto Elohim and his Father. To him be all the cabal, the power, and the honor and dominion forever and ever. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they shall which pierced him, and all kindred of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen. So again, this is the mentioning of the prophecy. So, on 2 or 3 witnesses shall all things be established. So again, if you think he's coming some other way, you're sadly mistaken. He's coming in the clouds, right? But there's something else that's mentioned here. They which pierced him, the kindred of the earth shall wail because of him, which is the same thing that's also mentioned in 30. It says the tribes of the earth shall mourn, right? And they shall see the Son of Man coming. So there's going to be a mourning. There shall be a mourning when the Son of Man comes. And that's the title of my message. All the nations shall mourn. So to get a better understanding of who's actually mourning, right? You see, let's take a look at Zechariah 12, and we're going to do 10 through 4. And I will pour upon the house of David, upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the spirit of favor and a supplication, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him, as one mourneth for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him, as is one is bitterness for his firstborn. In that day shall they be a great mourning in Jerusalem, and as the mourning of Hadramon, and in the valley of Megadon. And they shall mourn every family apart, the family of the house of David apart, and their wives apart, the family of the house of Nathan apart, and their wives apart, the family of the house of Levi apart, and their wives apart, and the family of Shimei apart, and their wives apart. All the families that remain, every family apart, and their wives apart. In this coming of the Son of Man, it's not going to be just the other nations that's going to mourn, but all those that are in Jerusalem, when he comes in great power and authority, they're going to mourn. We're going to mourn. Those who pierced him are going to mourn, right? Ezekiel 32, we're going to do 7 through 10. He says, and when I shall put thee out, I will cover the heavens. I will make the stars thereof dark. I will cover the sun with the cloud, and the moon shall not give her light. All the bright lights of the Shaman will I make dark over thee, and set darkness upon thy land. Saith Yahuwah. I will also vex the hearts of many people when I shall bring thy destruction among the nations, and to the countries which thou hast not known. Yea, I will make many amazed at thee, and their kings shall be horrified, afraid of thee. When I shall brandish my sword before them, and they shall tremble at every moment. Every man for his own life in the day of thy fall. Abiyah is going to flex even for the nations. Even for the nations shall feel it. And we know that this day is the appointed time in the day of Yah. The day that he comes with great mighty power, great destruction, you see. And he's not playing. So there is going to be a mourning. There's going to be fear because they're going to know. And all those people that wasted all their time being hard-hearted, not seeking the Most High, not caring, not turning, because the word must hit the 4 corners. It has to hit the 4 corners of the earth. Everybody is going to know. Those 2 sticks are going to make sure everybody know. The last foul swoop of them. Do y'all remember what happened during COVID? It's crazy how everybody act like they don't know the word, but as soon as something that comes up and the fear of death or something that resembles something that's coming out of Torah, everybody starts to say it's the end of days. Everybody wants to start going back to church. Everybody's starting to talk about end time prophecy. Everybody seems to know what the word is. Everybody would know. Everybody seems to know. Everybody want to turn from their ways. Everybody want to try to talk about the Father then. Why is that? Everybody is fearful then when these plagues hit them. When they see death of loved ones, they're shaken up. But as soon as the sun shines, as soon as they can go outside and go back to their normal ways, as soon as they survive, they forget. They stop going, stop going to church, stop trying to worry about feast days, you know. They stop worrying about the death. They're like, oh, that day isn't today. I still got time. You see. When this happens, they're gonna be out of time. They're gonna be out of time. When that trumpet blast and the Son of Man come through with his sickle, and he's just standing up, he's just up there in the clouds, and everybody can see him, be weeping and gnashing of teeth, right? There's going to be a great morning. There's going to be a great morning when that happens. Because it's something that's going to happen, and they're going to realize that they are out of time. That 11th hour is going to hit. Because they were supposed to be doing some work. They might not have came in the first hour, the second hour. Somebody came and gathered them for them to work. So then to get their what they call their mina or their shekel. I forgot the word of it. Even those people that may have came in the 10th, they could have came and worked and seeked out their own salvation with fear and trembling. But even at the 11th hour, they can come. They still have 1 hour left. We are in the 11th hour. They better come and get this work. Because we know when the 12th hour comes, it's done. The sun set, there is no light. It's darkness. Darkness. Then it's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Let's continue. So in Matthew 24, verse 31, it continued and said, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of the Shamayim to the other. So our people have been scattered, right? Our people have been scattered. Before I can talk about the gathering, let's talk about the scattering. What is, put in the chat, what's the reason why our people were scattered in the first place? Disobedience, adultery, blasphemy. But when they started to seek those other Elohim and started committing adultery, our ancestors turned from their ways. And we started following and started being deceived. That's what happened. We started being deceived. Even one of the greatest of us, Solomon, became deceived. The wisest, the double portion wisest one of us all became deceived. In Revelations, it says, even our elect, even the elect shall be deceived. Let's take a look at, so in Jeremiah, it says, oh, I was supposed to start at 13, I apologize. So Jeremiah 13 says, and Yah said, because they have forsaken my law, which I set before them, and have not obeyed my voice, neither walked therein, but have walked after the imagination of their own heart, and after Balaam, which their fathers taught them. Wow. Therefore, thus saith Yahuwah Zabot, the Elohim of Israel, but it says, behold, I will feed them, this people, with wormwood, and give them water of gall to drink. He says, who's going to do it? He said, who's going to do it though, right? He said, he's going to do it, right? He says, continue, says, I will scatter them also among the heathen, whom neither they nor their fathers have known. I will send a sword after them till I have consumed them. He says he's going to scatter them among the heathen. Piggybacking off of that, we're just going to take a glance at Ezekiel chapter 5. Now you can find all over Torah that if this isn't our marker of our people, if this isn't a marker of our people right here, then I don't know what is. Because other people would try to tell you like, well, You know, our people are, I'm gonna say our people are on because you all failed to keep the commandments. Because you all failed to keep the commandments, now there's another group of people. Because y'all failed to keep the commandments, like, so what? What are you trying to say? That there's another people now? That another prophet had to come after Mashiach? Wasn't nobody checking for you? People would say, you know, we have he has many names. He has many, we worship more prophets. We know more prophets than you. We pray more times a day than you. So what? This right here is a marker. It's a marker for a specific people. But if you, even though you read the Bible, doesn't mean that you understand the Bible. A lot of people say, yeah, I've read the Bible, I read the Bible. But do you study the Bible? How many times you read the Bible? I can't count how many times I've read some of these passages. I'm just gonna just take a look at this verse 10. It's really piggybacking off of 9. I just want us to understand, you know, why we were scattered in the first place. It says in the main part, it says, well, therefore the fathers shall eat the sons in the midst of thee, and the sons shall eat the fathers. But I will execute judgment in thee, and the whole remnant of thee I shall scatter all. I'm gonna scatter into the winds. Wherefore I live, saith Yahuwah, surely because thou hast defiled my sanctuary with all thy detestable things and with all thine abominations. Therefore I will also diminish. Neither shall my eyes spare, neither will I have pity, but there shall be also a gathering. There shall be also a gathering. That's what we're talking about. But before we get to the gathering, let's talk about this, because the wormwood was mentioned. And if you don't know, right? If you people get stuck on Deuteronomy 28, and it is a very, very key marker. But Deuteronomy 27 is very important. Deuteronomy 28 is important. But 29, 30, and 31 is extremely quintessential. 29 is going to tell you what our people is going to do. It's going to show you what their hearts is like to become scattered, right? To become scattered in the first place. And 30, which we're going to talk about, is going to show you how they're going to be gathered. And this is before they went into the land. Mind you, before the prophets even spoke about it, Abba Yah told Moshe, after he spoke all these things to them, the coldest verse, I'm not even gonna go to, I can't even go to it right now. The coldest verse that Yahuwah said to Moshe was, after he encouraged them, well, look, man, you know, them people ain't gonna listen to them. Them people gonna go and disobey, and I'm gonna scatter them. Right after all the encouragement, after he spoke all the Deuteronomy to them and encouraged them, made a song and all that stuff, Abba said to him, man, them people, I'm gonna scatter them people. They're gonna be disobedient, and I'm gonna scatter them. One of the coldest verses. It's almost just as cold as when Nehemiah told told those people that came to that gate to try to sell things on the Sabbath, like, man, if you don't move, I'm gonna have to lay these hands on you. I think that's one of the second coldest verses. I love Torah. I'm sorry, I get excited. But let's take a look at Deuteronomy 29. It says, lest there should be among you a man or woman or family or tribe whose heart turneth away this day from Yahuwah our Elohim to go serve the deities of these nations, lest there should be among you a root that beareth gall and wormwood. Now, he says, and it come to pass when he heareth the words of this curse that he bless himself in his heart, saying, I shall have peace, though I walk in the imagination of my heart. and add drunkenness to thirst. He says, Abba said, man, look, I will not spare him, but then the anger of Yah in his jealousy shall smoke against that man, and all the curses that are written in this book shall lie upon him, and Yah shall blot out his name from under the Shamayim. But we say here, it says, the person among you that beareth gall and wormwood. But again, who brings them the gall and the wormwood? Who feeds it to them? Yah. Y'all don't believe me? All right, let me go. Let's go back. Let's go back and look at it again. Let's go back and look at it. 13. He's again, but have walked in their own imagination of their own heart. It says that, was that Jeremiah 17 says the heart is wicked. Who shall know it? But he says, therefore, save Yahuwah. Behold, I will feed them, this people, with wormwood and give them water of gall. Whoa. Whoa. Huh? What? I wish I had that. I wish I had that meme. He said he's going to do it. Who scattered us to the four corners? Who said they was going to scatter us in the four corners of the earth? Put it in the chat. It was Yah, right? And he did it. You see, Yahushua's telling us to not be deceived, but who said that they was going to place a strong delusion for those who don't believe the truth? In 2 Thessalonians, who said they was going to do that? Who said they was going to do it? Paul said who's going to do it? Who's going to send a strong delusion? Wasn't it Yah? Did he say that Yah was? He said Yah was going to send a strong delusion. So this wormwood that is mentioned here, right? You see, now it really truly makes sense when we read. He says, when we pray, he says, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Because if we are desiring this wormwood, we're desiring these things, he's going to hand you over to your own desires. That's also in Jeremiah. To test your heart, he's going to hand you over to your desires. And you will be scattered. He's going to give it to you. You want this wormwood? You want your heart to be taken? You want to believe in this thing? He's going to hand you over to it. You want gall? I'm going to give you gall. All right? I just need for y'all, just to recap. I know y'all know. I know y'all know why we're scattered. I know y'all know why we're scattered. But before we can get to the gathering, we got to talk about the scattering. So now let's take a look, because let's take a look at let's take a Deuteronomy 30. See what we got to do to be gathered. Because in 31, it talks about the gathering the four corners of the earth. I want to talk about it before it was even mentioned, so that people could really understand that, this came from way before. This is true prophecy right here. So Deuteronomy 31, it says, it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessings and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, where the Yah, that Elohim have driven thee, and shall return unto Yah, thy Elohim, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thine heart. So he's telling you, like, you're going to be driven out. These are, as the big Aki Gadol said, like, these are our markers for you to know who the people are. The blessings and the cursings are our markers. These are signs for us to let the whole world know who the people are. It says that then Yah, thy Elohim, will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will turn and gather thee from all nations, whither Yah, thy Elohim, have scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out unto the outermost of the heavens, from thence will Yah thy Elohim gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And Yah thy Elohim will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it. And he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. And Yah thy Elohim will circumcise them hearts, and the heart of thy seed, to love Yahuwah thy Elohim with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that thou may live. And what he's going to do? He's going to put these curses upon thy enemies and upon them that hate thee and which persecuteth thee. You see? Hallelujah. And even those people that's well, what about those people that just happen to be, what about those people that just happen to be a little bit deceased? Let's take a look at Daniel 12. If I can click it, Daniel 12, let's do 1 through 4. He says, and at this time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation. To that same time, and at that time, thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some of everlasting life, and some to shame of everlasting contempt. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightest of the firmament, and they that turn many righteous as the stars forever and ever. But thou, O Daniel, shut up these words and seal the book to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and the knowledge shall be increased. We are in this time. This time. This is the time. You see? So even though, because the Father's word is not going to fall void, even if we be passed away, if we die in Mashiach, if we die in Mashiach, walking in his ways, carrying the cross as it said, that means that those who die in him likewise shall rise and be gathered from wherever that you was buried, for wherever you laid, even if you were scattered, if you turned from our evil ways, have a repentant heart. We will be like Yosef. We will be like Yosef, right? When Yosef was buried, he said, look, man, when y'all leave and we go into the land, he said what? Who know? Where y'all scholars at? What did he say? What did Yosef say? Hey, take me with you. Take my bones. Take my bones with you. Yosef said, look, man, take my bones with you. I ain't trying to be here. I ain't trying to be here. I'm not trying to be here. So I got this last little portion. Just this Matthew, so this Matthew 24. And this is just the recap of what we read already in 25 from 26 to 28. It's just a reminder of, remember the signs. Remember the signs. 32 and 33, it says, now learn a parable of the fig tree when his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, yet know the summer is nigh. When that fig tree put forth them leaves, man, just know, just like a bee, green ears. When you start seeing those green ears start to appear, you start seeing those trees bud. Yeah, know the time. Know the time is near, right? You know that spring is coming, right? He says, so likewise, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the door. Birth pains, right? You know, we're going through, it's the birth ain't here yet. But them contractions is going on. The baby is at the door. The real true deliverance is at the door. You see, the being born again is at the door. We ain't there yet, but man, we're getting there. We are getting there. And did I miss anything? If I did, so we do have, but for these, when I was reading about these fig leaves, right? One thing that came to mind is Micah. I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna show y'all just a quick snippet of a video, and I'm gonna be through. But what came to mind is Micah, and it says it's going Micah 4. I'm just gonna do verses 1 through 4. It says, "But in the last days it shall come to pass." You know what? I'm not gonna read this yet. I'm not gonna read this yet. I want to show you this video first. Do y'all remember when Joe Biden, do y'all remember when Joe Biden announced that he was going to pull the US out of Afghanistan? Put a one in the chat if you remember. And when he said that he was going to pull, which has got to be the most nonsensical thing to do, is to tell the whole world that you are going to remove a power out of a nation. Like the other nations ain't going to be ready to gain the ground back, which is the most, anyway. America had a countdown, and they were supposed to be training the people over there so they can defend the democracy that they placed there. Gave them airplanes and gave them training, all these guns and all this stuff, right? And when they announced that they was leaving, and while they was leaving, the Taliban in them was right there. There was no shootings or no anything. The Taliban was right there coming. You see these people over here, right? These people was on here. These people that believed in this nation, democratic nation, that believed in them and trusted in them. You see, they wanted to leave with them. Those that prevailed and and those that prevailed and turned against their nation and thought that this nation was going to protect them forever. The people that believed in the democratic or the American culture to turn against their culture, and women being liberated to do, to pick up the culture of America, whether it be fashion or whatever, start speaking against their culture and all this stuff. When it was time, when that power that protected, see, there's a nation that protect this ideology. You see, when those people that gained from all of that, when America decided to leave, people was boo-hooing. They were crying. The people decided that, look, if y'all leaving, we leaving too. Why? Because we know that it's over. We know that it's over and that the truth is coming. It's going to be the same thing when y'all comes. When the Son of Man comes in the parting of the clouds, there's going to be mourning, there's going to be suffering, but it's going to be way worse than this. People are going to try to do whatever they can to flee this destruction. These people was trying to flee so bad that these people jumped on the airplanes and thought that they was going to fly the airplane, get on the airplane and fly out on the plane, outside of the plane. And they died. I'm going to show you this video. Yes, people falling. Here's from a different angle right here. These people are on this jumbo jet. This jumbo super massive. Look at them. Look at them. They really truly believe that they can fly out of there. That's how desperate it is. That's how desperate they are. That's how nonsensical they will be. That's how nonsensical they're going to be. And it's going to be the same way when the appointed time comes, when the day of Yah come, when these tribulations come. There's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth. They're going to shake their fist at Yah. They're going to curse Yah. They're going to blaspheme Yah. People ain't going to know what to do. They're going to be as delusional as these people that just they're going to be as desperate and delusional as these people. And that's nothing compared to when the day of Yah is coming. That's how strong of a fear. That's how strong of a fear. And that's just a fear of man. That's just a fear of man. Because these nations, this world is going to be like it's going to be like those pigs. This world is going to be like those pigs. Those pigs that Mashiach decided, when it came to Yahushua, he's like, man, it's not our time. When that time of judgment comes, because they say you are what you eat, you see, there are going to be those that spirit is going to be cast away of. They're going to become a new person. But like I said, you are what you eat. But you see, those pigs, even though they say they're good swimmers, see, the person that was delivered. But those pigs drowned. Those pigs drowned. You see, that plane was not the ark of their salvation. I'm pretty sure those that thought that they was going to hold on to the ark of the covenant, the Noah's ark. How long do you think did they last that year? Our people, let's be on point. Let's be on point. Now I'm gonna read this Micah 4, 1 through 4, and we're gonna close it up. It says, but in the last days it shall come to pass, the mountains of the house of Yahuwah shall be established, and the top of the mountain, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and the people shall flow unto it. And many nations shall come and say, come, and let us go up to the mountain of Yah, and to the house of Elohim of Yaakov. And he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of Yahuwah from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among many people and rebuke strong nations afar off. And they shall beat their swords and plowshares and their spears in the pruning hooks. And nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. But they shall sit every man under his vine and under his fig tree, and none shall make them afraid. For the mouth of Yahuwah of hosts has spoken. Hallelujah. I want to leave y'all with one last word of encouragement, and that's going to be Revelations 14:12. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yah and the faith of Yahusha. And hear the voice from the Shammai saying unto me, right blessed are the dead which die in the Master from henceforth. Yes, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. So with your patience and your love and your long suffering, Mishpachah, in your patience and in your long suffering, keep these commandments. Don't be deceived. Prove all things, hold fast to what is good. Seek the word of Yah. Question all things. Don't be deceived. And don't be like the other nations, mourning for the wrong reason. Mourn for the coming of the Son of Man. Don't mourn out of despair and desperation. Don't mourn because you didn't act.